Hey, guess what, everybody? It's almost done. It's been about 4 years, but hallelujah, thank ambivalent DD Almighty, it's almost done. The construction at Downtown Disney as it transitions into Disney Springs is pretty much done. It was starting to feel like Boston's Big Dig after a while, just saying. But at last, they're finishing up what they need to do. And at this point, all I have to ask is, was it worth it? Okay. Let's back up. Back in 1975, less than 4 years after the Magic Kingdom opened, ipso facto Walt Disney World, Lake Buena Vista Village followed suit, making it the very first major expansion on Disney's Florida property. Without having to pay for parking or an admission ticket, you could peruse through a variety of shops and restaurants with Disney's assurance of quality. It was merely a teaser, a sampling of what the park had to offer just a few miles up the road. But in 1984, Michael $Eyes Eisner took over the company and sought to dominate the Florida market. See, up until then, Disney cooperated with local businesses like hotels and rental car companies as a symbiotic relationship. But in the span of 15 years or so, Disney added a buttload of hotels to squelch the off-property market. Universal's building a studio theme park? Hey, so was Disney. Church Street Station in Orlando drew adult clubbing crowds? Hey look, Pleasure Island. People using rental cars? Hey, it's a bus that transports you to and from the airport without having to set foot on anything that wasn't Disney. If you think I'm making any of this stuff up, consider that Eisner was the guy who demanded his Imagineers design and build a Disney car. And yes, a AAA certified, DMV approved automobile you would use to drive to work. At least when Walt suggested a radical idea, he disguised them as revolutionary ideals to advance society. Eisner only dropped the idea when it was pointed out that news articles would identify Disney cars in accidents. Throughout the 80s, the era of urban gangsta flavor, we watched as Walt Disney World Village acquired Pleasure Island and its happening nightclubs and West Side in 1989. Entertainment expanded to include Disney Quest and Cirque du Soleil La Nuba. It continued to grow, develop, and prosper even well after the Disney decade ended and Eisner was no longer above reproach. He resigned in 2005 when Bob Iger took over the company, and Iger had similar visions of growth and adaptation to remain hip, cool, and with it. In 2008, Disney shut down all Pleasure Island venues, including the much-beloved Adventurers Club. Congaloosh, my friends. This was when Disney tried to turn the area into Hyperion Wharf, a concept that ultimately got shelved because reasons. Now here we are, 3 years after Tom Staggs announced that Downtown Disney was getting a major overhaul, for realsies this time. Toads, for reals. And what's happened? After a nightmare of removing most of the parking lots, 2 huge parking garages popped up with not just a lighting system to help drivers find parking spots, but also a ramp leading directly off the nearby I-4. But that's pretty cool. A bridge was added to the marketplace that gave us a few kiosks selling knickknacks and a few small eateries. It's scenic and it cuts down your commute from the Rainforest Cafe to the Lego store by at least a third. We've seen several new stores pop up. The Marketplace Co-op, the Ganachery, Marvel Superhero Headquarters, Sprinkles, Chapel Hats, Blaze, Uniqlo, and a lot more. Restaurants like Jock Lindsay's Hangar and Bar, The Boathouse, STK, Morimoto, 2 different Starbuckses, and Deluxe, and plus many more. 2 elevated walkways popped up over Buena Vista Drive to allow easy access across the street. And a whole new section called Town Center has popped up, taking over yet another former parking lot. So if there's all this cool new stuff, why am I, for lack of a better phrase, fed up? Well, for one thing, it's all very expensive now. Of course, Disney hasn't exactly been the poster child of affordability, especially in the past 2 decades or so. That much is undeniable, but man, it's really gotten out of control. The Boathouse, for example, not only has entrees that can cost a patron over $100, but also the novelty of riding your very own amphicar through the lake because, vintage retro fads of the 50s can only go to those who can afford it. Now, where are my lead paint-based lawn darts? You can eat a meal at AMC's Theater's Fork and Screen service, watch a movie while eating a meal. You still have to pay nearly $20 for the ticket itself, which might I add is about $5 more than your standard ticket, but you can also order appetizers as low as $8 to entrees as much as $16. Deluxe serves wonderful handcrafted burgers. They're almost worth the $10 they're charging. But want fries and a Coke? Now your bills come to about $20. What about the stores? If you're anything like me, you love browsing through Once Upon a Toy or World of Disney, gawking at the character merchandise, gawking at the rare, more obscure characters. You can still do that, thank goodness. Most of that stuff is in the marketplace section. But if you head over to Town Center, you'll find Alex and Ani, American Threads, Kipling, UGG, Pandora, Under Armour Brand House, MAC Cosmetics, Volcom, and Sephora. Town Center has become a place for people to shop for expensive clothes because reasons. And in The Landing, former Pleasure Island and all its popular clubs, is where you can find Morimoto's, about $40 per entree, Paradiso 37, at least $16 per entree, Raglan Road, at least $15 per entry, or an elegant chocolate shop, a headphone store, a shaving kit store, and a steampunk-style nightclub opening soon. I could ask what the ever-loving Smoo what any of these have to do with Disney, much in the same way one would have asked what clubs have to do with Disney back in the 80s, but I argue that Walt Disney World has always been a place of entertainment. The nightclubs have been just that, entertainment. For adults, sure, but still entertainment. And while there are plenty of people who go shopping for fun, is it really the same thing? Disney shopping has always been sort of an afterthought at the Disney parks. After rides, but before the food. You know, mouse ear hats, Davy Crockett coonskin caps, Mickey balloons, character tees, stuffed toys. These items prolong your memories of your time at the parks. Who the Smoo looked at Downtown Disney and said, "You know what? I need to buy an expensive polo with nothing Disney on it at Walt Disney World." Now, don't get me wrong. Not everything has to do with Disney. You got the Lego Store, Rainforest Cafe, Cirque du Soleil, House of Blues, and Ghirardelli. I mean, I know they're not Disney, but they're all unique, strong brands to ensure a unique experience. That's why I think out of all the new venues at Town Center, Sprinkles with its cupcake ATM is arguably the best addition. And even the architecture irks me. The buildings in Marketplace, West Side, and the Landing are, for the most part, separate, diverse buildings. Those are fine. In Town Center, it looks like the outlet mall up the road. Spanish-style architecture makes the buildings all conform to each other with little more than a few external signs and storefronts as opposed to, say, Lego monuments of sea dragons, giant volcanoes, a paddle wheel boat, or giant statues of Disney characters. The biggest visual eye-catcher is a few fountains and the crystal clear waterways. And if those are the biggest draws, why even bother? I don't know where this all came from. What happened to a place where I could just browse without feeling like I don't have enough money to even walk around? It's become the Mall of Millennia. And unlike the parks, it requires no admission, so it's still a sample of Disney magic for people who can't or won't pay to go to the parks. But for me, I miss Downtown Disney. I feel like we broke up through a text, and I want you back. I'll stand outside your bedroom while playing Part of Your World on a boombox if I have to. I want you back! Stella! I'm Tap G, and I'm fed up.